You're not even showing the label. Brought to you by FitAid RX.
Not really. We're not sponsored.
No.
Not yet. Hold on. My wire. Okay.
I'm showing too.
Just pull it tight.
You're just real tight.
It's just like up here.
Around the ear.
All right.
You ready? Mm-hmm. All right, what's up, guys? I'm sitting down with Coach Gage. We're going to go through our first interview. I met Gage really a couple months right before we opened the gym, last July or August, at our level 1 CrossFit certification. My whole intent, I'd kind of done it backwards. I had been coaching for years prior to or leading up to that certification, thinking that we were going to affiliate the gym. That was kind of a mandatory step, but it was also an opportunity for me, in my mind, to meet a couple coaches and hopefully bring some guys on board. Gage is somebody that stood out right away. I had recognized the shirt he was wearing. It was actually the gym I was training at that time. We got to talking and found out I knew his older brother, our older brothers, and then we get kind of grouped up or teamed up and did a few workouts. And so it was a good successful weekend in me meeting a couple coaches or potential coaches, and from there Gage came on board. We opened up in October. It is his first training gig, mm-hmm. And I mean, I knew from his personality he was going to be able to kind of take that or own that position and grow pretty quickly, which he has. And I think for the members that have been here with us from the beginning, they can attest to that and seeing his growth as a coach. And as an athlete. I mean, he was an athlete beforehand, but it is kind of played into his ability to assess movement, break movement down with our members, and help them progress in their own athletic endeavors. But so he's been coaching now for really getting close to a year, but he's also a student at TCU. So go ahead and tell him what you're studying and what you're pursuing.
So at TCU, I'm studying management. And basically, that's just a business degree, but that's through the Neely School of Business at TCU, and I'm going into my sophomore year, taking some fun math classes and literature classes, but soon I'll be taking business classes, and I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. So I guess, what's your favorite part about the whole coaching experience now? Like, I guess, what are some expectations you had beforehand? If you had any expectations, and now that you've been doing it for close to a year, I guess obviously the rewarding part of seeing members progress and seeing the success of them, or maybe just like the experience that you've been able to have, but just kind of talk about first year.
Two things that I've enjoyed. The first is obviously the results that I get to see in other people. I mean, I've seen so many transformations from the beginning that we've opened, like a ton of the original members have it looks like a 180 almost. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool to see, just the results, the hard work pay off for everybody. And another thing that I really enjoyed is I learn a lot when I coach. I kind of overheard Kyle talking about this as well, but whenever we do take on a new member or a past member that we've had for a while bring something up, a concern or a question, it not only helps them learn, it helps us learn as well, how to explain something, or if we don't know the answer to something, we get to research it, mm-hmm. and learn more.
Yeah,
that's probably my two favorite
things. Yeah, that's good. And I think you've taken that, and whether you've known it or not, have kind of had our last question kind of cut short. I received a phone call. Anyways, we had just gone over Gage's first year of experience. He kind of talked about a couple of his favorite things as being a coach here at Fort Worth Strong. And so really the last question I have for Gage is, let's say, the same scenario I asked Coach Kyle, if we've got somebody that is potentially taking on a new training plan or is even just wanting to look into what we do, what is something that or some piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's looking into starting a fitness journey?
So I'd say two things, and the first is very obvious, but it would be, the first one is don't be afraid to start. And I heard Kyle kind of talk about that, and that's obviously the ground zero. That's where everybody starts, is just having the motivation to get in the gym. And the second thing I would say is don't be afraid to mess up. Everybody messes up. I mess up in training all the time. I'm sure Nick does too. So no matter how much experience you have, it's never going to be perfect. So even starting as a beginner, your training experience is not going to be perfect. So I always say getting in the gym, getting moving some weight is the best thing you can start with. But having guidance in that is also really good, and that's why we're here. So just get in the gym and then get moving. Don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid to mess up.
That's good. No, that's great. I think you may have read it somewhere before if you haven't heard of it, but just kind of checking the ego, leaving that at the door, and just failing forward, not being afraid to look dumb, like you said, or look like you are inexperienced, because we all were at that point at some point, and we do a good job of getting you out of that initial starting point. So if you've got questions for Coach Gage, again, it can be really anything. He's a funny guy, so come up with some questions to ask. Let us know.
Thank you.